and for his close links with the Roman Catholic hierarchy of his country. Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe frequently embarrasses the Jesuits by claiming to be the quintessential specimen of discipline, service, and moral probity inculcated through Jesuit education. Former President Julius Nyerere of Tanzania is on course for beatification in the Roman Catholic Church. President Olusegun Obasanjo of Nigeria went on to obtain a master's degree in theology after presiding over a regime reviled for its massive corruption and misappropriation of Nigeria's vast oil resources. The ousted Charles Taylor of Liberia openly preached Christianity despite masterminding one of Africa's murderous bloodbaths during the Liberian Civil War. Although lately he has converted to Judaism while on trial at The Hague for crimes against humanity. I've already mentioned the case of Frederick Chiluba of Zambia, whose manifest ambition to train as a Pentecostal pastor in Nigeria was severely disrupted by a long and protracted corruption trial. And the same can be said of so-called devout and saintly Muslim politicians whose records are anything but saintly. Hosni Mubarak of Egypt, Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, Sani Abacha of Nigeria, Ibrahim Babangida of Nigeria, Omar al-Bashir of Sudan, and the list goes on. What is the point? Beyond moral exhortation and devout supplication, the church as a body, I believe, still lacks an effective means of engaging the political systems, personalities, and arrangements in Africa. The 1994 Synod prayed for saints in high political office. In 2009, the Synod of Bishops called for greater pastoral engagement with political leaders through pastoral care and formation in the values and principles of Catholic social teaching. And I'm quoting from the Synod now. Therefore, the Synod Fathers call upon all pastors to offer present and future leaders in political and economic life a fitting doctrinal, pastoral, and practical formation, as well as spiritual support. They request Catholic universities to establish faculties of political science. Catholic social teaching is a valuable means which should be spread as much as possible. I believe that the approach of the Second African Synod of active engagement with political leaders through formation and pastoral care offers a better chance of success. In connection with this point, there is also the question or the challenge of how to translate the tenets of Catholic social teaching into an effective tool in a political context where such tenets remain suspect as Western impositions. Catholic social teaching has been described as our best kept secret. And I would argue that nowhere is this truer than in Africa. Lately, there have been an upsurge in the number of justice, peace, and development commissions as a means of translating Catholic social teaching into the public sphere. And the signs are rather hopeful. And perhaps such initiative might prove to be more successful than previous attempts to make small Christian communities the locus of political conscientization and social transformation in the church in Africa. I am of the opinion that the church in Africa would achieve greater success if more effort were invested in advocacy. In advocacy in line with the proposition of the Second African Synod, which states, and I quote, "Episcopal conferences at all levels are to establish advocacy bodies to lobby members of the Parliament, governments, and international institutions so that the Church can contribute effectively to the formulation of just laws and policies for the good of the people." End of quote. Such a strategy or approach would also include promoting multi-dimensional programs of civic education, the formation of a social conscience at all levels, and encouraging competent and honest citizens to participate in party politics. There is another challenge. As I have mentioned repeatedly, Africa is home to a multiplicity of religions and religious traditions. This realization presents the challenge of how these religious traditions and bodies can collaborate, work together to achieve meaningful social transformation, promote political maturity, and enable economic development. By extension, there is also the challenge of how to work with civil society in promoting the shared values of democracy, rule of law, common good, human and people's rights in Africa. Concerning the challenge of working with other religious traditions, the situation is complicated by the rise and intensification of religious fundamentalism mixed with political motives and economic interests. And this religious fundamentalism is linked to an international network of extremist and militant organizations. And I would argue that whether in the realm of politics or in the realm of ethics and morality, Africa is fast becoming our locus of competing religious claims in Christianity and Islam. As Pope Benedict described it at the African Synod, groups who follow various religious creeds are spreading throughout the continent of Africa. They do so in God's name, but following a logic that is opposed to divine logic. That is, teaching and practicing not love and respect for freedom, but intolerance and violence. End of quote. I would like to add one point, and this would concern the churches, particularly the Catholic Church. When it comes to working with other churches and civil society, I believe that as a church, we have allowed ourselves to be distracted by what I call our obsession with sexual ethics. We are so good at pushing single-issue campaigns, be it abortion, homosexuality, or the Islamic courts, but very poor in developing integral and consistent ethics that will take in all aspects of life in Africa, including political life. And I think this remains one of our greatest challenges. And I would add to this challenge the question of how to develop a more structural response to Africa's socioeconomic crisis, vis-a-vis the traditional preference for humanitarian relief and corporal works of mercy, feeding the hungry, drinking the thirsty, clothing the naked, sheltering the homeless, visiting the sick and those in hospital, bearing